say if that person is on your team, that person's is hitting the 3-hole, he's hitting 300. Watch him. Watch what he does. Do what he does. If he takes extra batting practice every day, take back extra batting practice every day. Like if he's in the gym every morning, I would be in the gym every morning, because that's if you want to be that 300 hitter, you have to do the stuff that he's doing.
Arteaga drives one to center. Miller hustling over. Diving catch by Ian Miller. A great catch.
3, 2, 1. He's in here. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the 9-Hole Podcast. This is your host, Ian Miller. Today, I am joined again by a familiar face, a good buddy, a teammate of mine, Nick Vincent. Nick is an ex-Major League pitcher. Man, has played a lot of baseball, has had an incredible journey. We had him on the podcast not too long ago. Nick, how you doing, brother?
We're doing good. You know, it's Monday, midday.
Right.
Kids are home from school. One's sick. One just got done. He just goes half day, and now we're just doing a little podcast with Ian Miller.
That's right, baby. That's right, dude. So last time we had you on, we were talking about your journey. We talked about, man, you started out in junior college right after you were done in high school. You ended up at Long Beach, right? Then you got drafted 18th round. You ended up making it to the big leagues. You played for a long time, played for a lot of teams, man. You've had great experiences in the big leagues, dude. So I wanted to get you back on here, excuse me, and I wanted to talk about the things that maybe the next generation of baseball players, they have no idea about yet, whether they aren't experienced enough, they haven't played long enough, whether they're relatively new in the game, or they are, a big fish in a little pond. They really haven't struggled or had to deal with too much adversity, man. I wanted to bring you in again. Obviously, you have insane knowledge, man. We're a great teammate, dude. I wanted to ask you about how you made it to the big leagues, how you stayed in the big leagues, how you had longevity, and man, maybe touch on some stuff that these guys don't know about yet. So when we were brainstorming some stuff to talk about, it all had to do with the process. It all had to do with the process, brother. Could you just shed some light on just, some general stuff about the process, the baseball process, the development process that these players, regardless of if they're minor league, college, anything below that, high school, middle school, like what don't they know yet?
Yeah. So the process, I'm going to go over like 4 or 5 things. Mainly it's going to be just putting in the work, keeping yourself accountable, sacrifices you're going to have to make along the way, making a goals list for yourself, and then just being a good teammate, learn how to be a good teammate and playing together as a team, and kind of like just getting closer to your teammates kind of deal. So in the beginning, I think we'll go over just putting in the work. Like during baseball season, you got kind of a little preseason probably for most players, even if they're high school or going into college, whatever. That's the time for you to put in the most work you can, and that's in the weight room. That's running, getting the best condition you can be possible before season starts. Just prepping your body, rolling out, doing whatever you can to stay mobile, to stay healthy the whole year. So you're putting yourself in a good spot to play for a full season, because the baseball season is a long season, no matter if it's high school or the big leagues or whatever. It's a lot of games. So like I said, just when you're at the gym, like bust yourself. Try to like, if you can't make yourself almost throw up when you're working out, like then you have to go to somebody that can push you to a limit where you're not used to being pushed to.
I like that.
Because like I was always a guy that could just work out by myself, and like I would put in music and like I would just get after it. And and everybody's individual based. Even like big leaguers are still like, some guys, they just can't work out by themselves. So that's why they hire trainers and they do that. Like I was always a guy that could just put in some music, follow a little workout plan, and just get after it. And like I was always like, as soon as I got tired, I would try to do like 5 more reps, whatever I was doing.
Dude, that touches on the accountability aspect that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But like some guys need that social aspect of the workout, maybe to be held accountable by the people that you're working out with, the trainer you're working out with. Whereas you were able to remain disciplined and kind of focused throughout. I feel like I was kind of in the same boat there, dude. So I could put headphones in and go until I feel like I had to throw up. Did it today. I'm 32. I'm retired, bro. I was out there running until I felt like I had to throw up, bro. So that's huge. I love that.
Yes. So like that'd be the first one, is to work out. Like either challenge yourself, where you're, like I said, either get your heart rate up to a heart rate level that's your max heart rate level, or like I said, get a personal trainer or find a workout buddy that can push you. Like that's the biggest thing. And it could be a baseball buddy. You guys both work out together. Like the more that goes into being a good teammate and stuff is like the more you guys hang out as players, the better off your team's gonna be. So going on a workout. If you need a workout buddy, find your baseball buddy that works out, and you guys go to the gym together, and you guys just get after it. And you guys will push each other at the gym just by, all right, say if me and Ian are working out, Ian did 15 squats at 185. All right, I'm gonna try to do 15, or I'm gonna try to do 16. I'm gonna try to raise the bar each time. So it's kind of building competition within just working out. So I think that was the first process. Running, same thing. Like you wanna condition yourself harder when you're in preseason or preparing for a baseball season. So when you get out on the field, your body can just flip a switch and you can go to that max level instantly to run from first to second to third, whatever you want to do, or pitching, just being explosive on throwing down the mound. So conditioning is a big thing, having your legs underneath you. If you're not conditioned going into the season, you are going to be struggling through the whole
especially
season. You're going to get tired, exhausted. So, I mean, the good players, the best players, they're the ones that can, when they're tired, they can go out and they can compete and still put up numbers on the table and help their team win ball games.
100%, brother. I was going to say, especially like conditioning is important as a pitcher, right? But especially I found out the hard way when you start playing 140 games in a full season, right?
Yep.
Big leagues, 162 games. Hopefully it's even longer than that because that means you made a postseason. So I didn't figure out about the conditioning aspect, the importance of that until I started rolling out into my first full season. 2014, brother, I went out for this full season. I prepared the same way that I did prior to all my other short seasons, college and rookie ball, all that stuff. Man, I got out there and I ended up breaking my back, L5. So I had a fracture on either side of my vertebrae. It was my L5 vertebrae. I had a break on either side of my spine. And so it was from not being conditioned. So like my legs were weak. And my hamstrings were stronger than like my quads and my abdominals, everything. And so it was pulling on my lower back and you keep going, reps, days, you're putting wear and tear on your body, diving around, running around. I wasn't conditioned, wasn't adequately like prepared in the off season. Boom. I ended up having like a pretty serious injury, bro. So I love it. Everything you're saying, I wasn't even aware of until I was in pro ball with the conditioning, dude.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is like you're gonna learn along the way like what you need specifically. Like for you, like you said, I wasn't conditioned. So like, all right, I need to do this more next year. I need to focus on this more next year. So it's just everybody's individually based. Some guys need to do legs more than others. Some guys need to work out their whole body because they're just like me and you. We're both smaller, so we could just absolutely crush in the gym. We're not going to get like the size of Mike Trout. I'm sorry, we're not going to. No matter how much we work out, like it isn't. It is what it is.
Yeah, dude, he's got he's built different. So I see back there about my size a little bit. I see in the background, nice little board there. It says I'm 5'11", not 6 foot. So obviously, if you go on my player page, you are able to. I think I took my measurement in cleats, bro. If we're being completely honest, I'm pretty sure I actually did my measurement in cleats. So I would agree with you. I think I am 5'11", not 6 foot. Philly's finest. I will take that. Loves a Saturday Sudoku. And is a cat lover. I don't know about the cat lover, brother, but we'll take it. We'll take it. That's right, dude. That's right, man. I love that. Dude, let's talk about some of the sacrifices that these players coming up, they're going to have to make. They might not even be aware of it. For me, the craziest sacrifices that I needed to make and where it really meant it kind of came into fruition, I was aware of it, I was conscious of it, was in college. So when I got to the Division I level was really when I needed to start making sacrifices, and I was conscious of it. Like it was a decision. So when I was in high school, I feel like I was able to work hard, and it was just kind of unconscious. It's just that's what was fun to do. That's just what was available. I came home from school and I could go out in the backyard and play with my brother and just work on stuff. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to even think about, but that's just how it was. I got to college and it was like, okay, practice is done. I can make a conscious decision where I'm going to get extra work in right behind the scenes at the lower field in the weight room, or I can go back and I can go party, right? Doing what everybody else is doing. So that's really where I started being aware of my sacrifices that I needed to make, and the decisions that I made had consequences, right? Whether they're
Hmm.
good or bad, man. So
Yeah.
what do you have to say about some of these sacrifices that I'll say, like, these kids in the game, they're not even aware that they need to make yet?
I mean, you're on point with it. It's just like you're saying, say, if you want to go to if there's a big party on Friday night and all the baseball teams going, like, yeah, okay, everybody's going, but let's make sure you get all your work put in. If you want to keep going playing this game, get all your work put in before you even think about going to that thing. And if you want to, I would try to keep my time filled and then maybe go to if you're going to go to the party, go for like an hour or two and then leave. But like once you stay there longer for 4 or 5 hours, you're going to put yourself in bad shape for the next day. And that recovery, you're going to find out once you go through it. It's a tough process to start going out every night and be ready to play the next day. So it's like I said, it's trial and error. Everything in baseball is trial and error. You can go out if you want to, but I would just say if you want to put yourself in a better place to perform, go out for a little bit, come home, chug some water, put your body in a good spot for the next day. What are the other sacrifices I wrote down? Just like playing video games, being on the iPads, being on TikTok, like actually calculate how much time you are on your phone, you're on your iPad, you're playing video games, and like, are you putting that much work into baseball? Like, if you're not, you're probably not going to keep getting better and better at baseball. Now, if you take that time and you put more time into baseball versus the other things, you're going to start seeing better performance, and you're going to see yourself getting better and better each day.
Love that.
So, the more time you put in baseball or whatever sport you're playing, the better off you're going to be, and you're going to put yourself in a better spot to, like I said, perform on the field, be a better player.
Love it, dude. I just kind of thinking about what you are saying. If you are faced with a decision on acting a certain way, like even if you're gonna go out, dude, make sure you get your work in before you get out there. I think that is huge. I think that probably falls by the wayside, right? You're a college
Yeah.
dude. You're supposed to be going out and having a good time and partying and stuff, right? That's what college is about. But like, what are you there for? You just there to kind of go through the motions? Are you there to play Division I baseball, D2, D3, NAIA, right, JUCO? Are you just there to kind of go through the motions, or are you there to like compete and try to be the best, try to maximize, right? If you're not trying to maximize your potential, then like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Are you just kind of going through the motions in life, on the field, off the field, in the classroom? You know what I mean? Like, if you're not striving for something, dude, you're just kind of aimlessly going about it. I talked about in the 9-hole newsletter this past week. It's a newsletter that goes out once a week, that the idea that there are two different types of players, man. And so I compared it to predator and prey. So you're either a predator or you're a prey animal. And like predatory animals, they have their vision locked on to a target, something that they are going after. They're either going to take somebody's spot, they're going to knock this pitcher out, they're going to end somebody's career today. Well, that's a crazy phrase, but like, you're trying to put up a crooked number and knock the pitcher out, regardless of how you want to say it. You know what I mean? You're gunning for somebody. You're either going out to prove somebody wrong or prove somebody right, or you're just going out to make a name for yourself. Like those are the predatory players. The prey animals are the players that are just trying to hold on, dude. They're just like, hey, there's 2 months left of the season. I need to maintain my batting average. I need to limit strikeouts. I need to play scared. I need to play reserve. Don't take too many chances. Like there are predators and there's prey. And so I think like what you're saying right there, making sacrifices, keeping that stuff in mind, like that is the predatory type player that I was referencing this past week in the newsletter. I absolutely love it, man. In my experience with the college party. So yeah, I was a regular dude, right? I got my work in prior to going out. I handled business when I went out as well. But that next morning, what separated me from my teammates when I was playing was like, even if I didn't get enough sleep, even if I didn't get my water in before I went to bed, I still woke up, didn't feel my best, and I went to the gym or I went to the lower field. And like, yeah, I was struggling. Yeah, I was hurting. But like that didn't persuade me from not going out and like working hard. You know what I mean, dude?
Yeah. No, I'm gonna key on that. Like you're 100% right on that predator to prey thing. Like any baseball player, anybody in sports, like if you are say a reliever, like you want to be a starter probably. Like, and I remember, I think I was at Long Beach, and maybe on my recruiting trip when I was at Long Beach, the guys that were already there, they were just talking. I was like, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna take your job. I remember I said it. And this guy's like 6'6", whatever. And I'm 5'11". And I told us, and like I said, I told him, I was like, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna take your job, so just be ready.
Let's go.
And like that's how I've always been. I wouldn't say I'm not very arrogant. I'm very humble about what I do, but like he was just talking. I was like, all right, I gotta say something back. Like I'm just down to this guy talking. So he ended up not pitching that much that year, but I was completing for a third spot starter, and I ended up going pitching in the bullpen because they wanted me to. But that's always how I've been. Is like same thing. I kind of mentioned on it last time. Is like in high school, I would always look at the strikeouts, and there was a guy named Eric Meyerholtz. He was always in first, and I was always like 5 or 6 behind him. And I remember I was always chasing to be on top of that guy. So like I was like, all right, this game I'm gonna try to strike out like 7 or 8. And by doing that, I would always attack the strike zone because you got to attack the strike zone to get strikeouts.
Hell yeah.
Back when we played, now it's different. Everybody kind of walks a guy, strikes out a guy, walks a guy, strikes out a guy. So it's different. But I always attack the strike zone, put myself in spots where I could strike a guy out.
Love that.
So
love it.
I'm very on board with that predator to prey analogy.
Yeah, you're either the aggressor or you're the one that like has the vision to the side and behind, right? Somebody's locked into a target and they will not stray from their pursuit of either eating or starving, right? And then there are other players that are just going through the motions. They're just trying to stay afloat, dude. And like, regardless of what level you're at, regardless of what season it is for you, regardless of what numbers you're putting up or the circumstance that you currently have, like, dude, that's what it is, man. There are two types of players, man. So we talked a little bit about holding yourself accountable, right? Some people will work out in social settings to be held accountable. If you have a trainer or you're working out with your teammates, those guys can make sure that you do your reps, get the adequate work in. That is a great way of holding yourself accountable. When we talk about like setting goals, man. So I had talked a little bit about this with Nick Deeney. So he was an ex-catcher with the Royals.
Nice.
He's on like once a week, man. We talk usually youth baseball. And so how he would go about doing it is if he was not in the right, state of mind or his numbers weren't where he wanted them to be at the halfway point in his season, or, it's winding down, he would get out of that rut, out of that slump, the circumstance by focusing in on 10 ABs at a time. So it's like, okay, I went 0 for 4 today. Like, I'm freaking out. I go home, I'm pissed, I'm upset. Yeah. But like he would look at it and in like 2 or 3 game increments, right? So you're not just taking a small sample size and kind of like validating your worth on one game. So he would kind of break things down and look at it incrementally. And he would kind of look at it where he was kind of able to stack those wins a little bit more by looking at the 10 AB sample size. Man, when things weren't going well for you, or when you were going into a season and you were kind of looking at goals, or you were looking at things that you were trying to achieve this year, man, how would you go about doing it? And how could some of these players that are coming up that want to be like you, man, like how could they do it?
So I can say that to start the year, everybody, before you even start the season, write down 5 goals that you want to accomplish throughout the year. If it's your pitcher, if you're a catcher, if you're a shortstop, if whatever, like write down 5 goals. So I'll say for a hitter, say I want to hit 230 or we'll say 250. I want to hit 250. I want to hit 10 homers. I want to try to drive in probably 60, 50, we'll say 50, and steal 10 bags. So those are the goals that you had to start the season. Now you got to say, all right, how am I going to reach those goals? Now to hit 250, I got to be getting my hits and getting pitches. So I'm going to have to track balls. I'm going to have to watch video on myself. I'm going to have to learn the other pitchers. Like I'm going to have to do a lot more studying of the opponents to put myself in a spot where I can get hits to get to 250. Homers, I'm gonna have to work out in the gym. I have to get bigger. I have to get stronger. That's kind of plain and simple. And then when you get those pitches that you want, instead of hitting doubles off the wall, now you're a little bit stronger. Now you hit them over the fence. RBIs, that's situational hitting. So now you guys on base. Thing kind of what they say is your butthole tightens up.
Yeah.
Kind of people get on base. So once you can kind of loosen up and be more relaxed at the plate, now you start driving in some runs. Stealing the bags, that goes all back to conditioning and stuff. So that's making yourself quicker. If you were, we'll do a four. What do you guys do? 60s?
Yeah.
Say if you're 60s, what a fast one's 6'5", 6'6"?
Yeah, that's fast.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do some speed agility stuff to make yourself drop that by we'll say 6'6" to a 6'5".
Yeah.
And if you just gradually just get faster and faster, it's going to help you steal one more bag at a time.
Incremental, dude. So when I've talked about, players that are in their current circumstance, whether that you're hitting 220, you're a bench player, you are the 9-hole hitter, you're not playing the position you want, you're not in the batting order, right, where you think you should be, it's woe is me, all this stuff. If you look at where you're at and where you want to be, right, let's say if I'm a 220 hitter, I'm scuffling at the plate, I'm struggling, but I want to be a 300 hitter.
Yeah.
What is the process to becoming that 300 hitter? Well, the way that I explain it is it's not a certain mechanic, right? Yeah. Let's say if you're a pitcher that has a 4.5 ERA, but you want to be a pitcher with a fucking 2. Yeah. Like it's not a certain mechanic, it's not a certain delivery. It's, for me, the way that I kind of relate to it and the way that I try to explain it is like it's about the process of becoming that player or becoming that pitcher. If I want to be a 300 hitter, I need to become the type of player that is capable of hitting 300. So like if you look at your current situation right now, is your work aligning with hitting 300? Are you putting in 300 hitter work? Like how would a 300 hitter in AA or in college or the big leagues go about their BP? How would a 300 hitter go about their practice? How would a 300 hitter go about their preparation? All that stuff. I think that all ties into it, dude. And so like with the goal setting and just the baseball process in general, I think that's pretty important, dude.
Yeah, no, like you're saying, I think if you want to be that person, you have to either watch, say if that person's on your team, that person's is hitting a 3-hole, he's hitting 300. Watch him. Watch what he does. Do what he does. If he takes extra batting practice every day, take back extra batting practice every day. Like if he's in the gym every morning, I would be in the gym every morning because that's if you want to be that 300 hitter, you have to do the stuff that he's doing. So yeah. For pitching, for instance, I always wanted to be the setup guy. And I remember I mentioned it. My first year in high A, I was a setup guy, and then I went down to long relief that next year, same league. So I was like, I want to get back to being the setup guy. And what you do is you just go out, when you get out there, you put up your numbers and you keep grinding, put your nose to the grindstone, and you keep going out, you keep putting up your numbers. And in time, you're going to get your way going up. I went from long relief probably the first month, and then I went up to middle relief.
Love it.
And then I went from middle relief, and I just kept doing good. When I went out there, I did my business, I did my job, I got outs. So I ended up being like the last month of the season, I was a setup guy going into the playoffs. So it's one of the things that goes back to goals. Is like you're saying, like I want to be that guy. All right, now you got to go out there, prove that you can be that guy by doing what you do on the field.
Love it.
So that's like you said, but it's a little incremental little goal you got for yourself.
Dude, the hitting on like observing your teammates. If you're striving to be a 300 hitter like your teammate, that is a perfect way of you can just watch how he goes about his business. How does he handle himself? How does he deal with failure? How does he deal with adversity? How does he prepare pre-game, post-game? How does he perform on the field? Is he a professional? You know what I mean? How does he carry himself? That ties into what we were going to talk about next, right? That's learning your craft every day. That's being a student of the game. Mm-hmm. That also ties into being a good teammate, dude. So like if you aren't where you want to be and you're on the bench or you're in the 9-hole, like watch the game, see who are the people that you would like to be like. What are they doing? Emulate that, man. Be a student of the game. Watch how they're getting pitched. Watch how they go about and handle themselves, man. And that goes into being a good teammate, dude. So over the entirety of your career, bro, I'm sure you've had awesome teammates. I'm sure that you've had some dumpy teammates and you've had some teammates in between. Obviously, you know that I love a Saturday Sudoku or however you say it. So we've spent some time together behind the scenes.
Yep.
Obviously, we are a lover of those crosswords, those Sudoku puzzles that I can never quite figure out. But like, what does a good teammate in your mind look like? Like, what does a good teammate consist of?
I mean, a good teammate to me is somebody who's going to cheer for his own teammates, no matter if that guy's competing with you or against you. Like, cheer for your team, no matter what. Like, you're not trying to root against your own team. Like, all right, I hope he does bad, so that gives me a chance to do. Like, that's just to me, that's just bad karma on yourself, and it's not going to work out in the long run.
I feel that.
Just get to know your teammates. Like if you guys play video games, we'll say play video games with each other. If you can, play with each other at the same house, or if like for minor leaguers, play in the same hotel room
For sure.
until whatever time you guys want to. But like you guys are building team chemistry within video games that you can bring to the field, and that's stuff like all right, like that's bragging rights you can bring to the field. You know, like, all right, I'm gonna go to the field. Like I beat Ian in NCAA football last night 3 out of 4 times. Like
That's right.
that's just one of the things, and that's going to make you be more competitive and probably play the video games a little bit more to be better at it. Same
That's
thing as
right.
baseball. Like, all right, this guy hit 2 homers today, went 2 for 4 with some ribbies. Like, all right, like I want to be that guy next time. Like that's what I want to do. Same thing for pitching and all that. Like the starter, I started until Long Beach,
Okay.
but like you kind of just set that bar here. And like if you're down here, you want to try to get to there. So like, all right, next time you start, I want to pitch it just as good as he did, and that will make you better every time you go out.
Yeah. Elevate yourself, dude. What, in your opinion, in your experience, dude, what makes up a bad teammate? So in my opinion, so in my experiences, I've had a couple bad teammates. I've had a couple teammates that have been a little dirty, that have cheated, right? I'm not even going to get into that, but some
Yes.
teammates that like didn't value integrity, all this stuff, but they were also kind of teammates that were hot and cold weather. So they would weather the storm a little bit. They wouldn't necessarily be even keel, right? They'd get a little high when things were going good, and they'd get pretty damn low when things weren't going their way, right? So you would be able to tell first off that these guys had a couple hits this game or a couple strikeouts this game on the mound. They went 1, 2, 3, and you'd be able to tell when they're moping and shit with their head down because they got hit around a little bit or they're 0 for 4 with 4Ks, dude. What in your experience constitutes like a bad teammate, man? Like what are some things maybe behind the scenes that players they haven't even realized it? Because if you're in high school, dude, you haven't been living with your teammates, right? You just have maybe 2 hours after school max, but whatever it is for these practices. You get to college, you get to pro ball. It's like, okay, so you live with these fucking guys. So you know them, you know their personality, you know how they handle themselves. What don't high school players and younger know about what a bad teammate is?
I would say a bad teammate to me is somebody that can't listen or take direction from a coach. Is somebody that kind of just like doesn't listen to the coach, does his own thing. That's the hardest thing is being uncoachable as a player. For one, to me, you're not helping out your team when you're that guy. Lack of hustle for me is a huge one. Like if you can't do what the coach tells you to do or do whatever somebody's trying to teach you to do, like do it as hard as you can and practice hard. Like that's how you want to play the game. You want to be out there. You don't want to be known as the guy who's lazy or, oh, he's 0 for 3 today, so he's not going to try today. Like that's not who you want to be. You're 0 for 3 today. All right, if I'm 0 for 3 and I'm the catcher, like all right, I'm going to try to call the best game I can call. Like that's what it is. I don't care about my hitting. Like there's 2 sides of baseball. There's hitting and there's defense. Like put the hitting aside. When you're on defense, you're playing defense. When you're on offense, all right, try to get a hit that last AB to kind of salvage the day. But at least in defense, try to keep what you can, control what you can, and go out there and call the best game you can.
Love it.
So yeah, being lazy, being uncoachable. What are some other ones? I would say not really getting to know your teammates. Kind of just if you're there just for baseball and you don't really talk to anybody, you don't really do much with the team. If you kind of go out and do your own thing, like you go to the field, you come home, and then you don't talk to anybody after. And you're always on your cell phone. That's the big one for me is being always on your cell phone, like night and day. It's a lot different now. Guys are definitely on their cell phones. As soon as the game ends, win or lose, they're on their cell phones. Like for me, I put the cell phone. You got the whole night to be on the cell phone.
For sure.
High schoolers, college guys, same thing. Like when the game's over, you can look at your phone when you get home. When you're on the bus ride, but like as soon as the game's over, like talk to the buddies, like ask him like how he felt today, like why, how did you? I mean, you went 3 for 3 today. Like how did you feel? Good? Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Just getting to know your teammates is the best thing. It's like knowing where people come from, knowing who their mom and dad is, what they did, how they grew up. Like, what's just kind of just being a good person
I love that.
goes a long
Yeah.
ways.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm thinking back to some of the things that I'm thinking about the things that you're saying, and I'm thinking back to some of the best teammates that I've had.
Yeah,
And they were not necessarily the most like extroverted people, right?
yeah,
Obviously that kind of matters a little bit where you're able to communicate with your teammates and be social with them in the locker room. But like that, the best teammates that I've had were ones that like that locker room time is sacred. And now that we know, I mean, that we're out of the locker room now, we're out of
yeah,
baseball. Like, dude, imagine, think back to how fun those locker rooms were, bro, where you're just like shooting the shit with your teammates and you're just like
hmm
camaraderie. It's fantastic, man. So everything you're saying resonates with me. It's what I've experienced right throughout almost a decade in pro ball, dude. The
yeah,
teammates that were my favorite, the teammates that were my best teammates, man, were the ones that kind of included everybody in the locker room from the top dudes down to the bottom. It treated everybody
yeah,
with respect, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
just they're just good dudes, man. And they weren't always on their phone, like you're saying, dude.
yeah,
I think that's probably something that I could have been a little bit better with,
yeah,
right? Like in order for me to lock in, I'd have a routine where I'd put my headphones on and I'd kind of just like sit with myself and figure it out for the hour leading up to it. But like even after the game, dude, I try to get a shower and get on out of there. You know what I mean? It's like,
mhm,
dude, I could have taken a little bit longer to know my teammates, right?
yeah,
That's an integral part of playing like a team and being united a little bit.
yeah. And I would say, like, I didn't learn that probably till I was up in Seattle. So it was like probably 4 or 5 years that I was already in the big leagues, and I was
Mm,
like, all right, like now that I'm here, like get to know people, build a relationship with people. Like the better off you are with that, the better like just team you're going to be. Like when you just like you said, you go in the hour before the game, that's your routine. That's your routine. I don't care about that because there are people like that. Like I remember playing with Carlos Quentin, and like he, the days that he was playing, he would literally not talk to anybody, or if he did, it was very short words.
really?
Yeah, and that's how he was, and he was very when it was game day, like he just locked in. He didn't say much, and then he went home. And then he
Okay,
would be on the bus rides. He was the best guy in the world, and
gotcha.
we were like, Carlos, why can't you be like this, like in the clubhouse? He's like, you guys, like I just can't do that. That's just not. This is how I've done it my whole career. This is how I'm gonna keep doing. I played with him towards the end of his career, but he was just so like it was so intense for him every day, and it was just like, how do you play this game like that every day? I
Yeah.
remember one day he was walking by. I was like, "Hey, what's up, Carlos?" And he didn't say anything. I was like, "All right, that was cool."
Oh,
And he came back like 30 minutes later. He goes, "Hey, Nick, sorry, man. I was locked in. I was just going to the gym to do my stuff, and then I got to go to the training room. And I was just sorry, man, sorry." And I
dude,
love Carlos, and he's just like he means well, but like just that's just how he was.
that's how he prepared. That's how he locked in, bro.
Yeah,
That's a competitor right there, man. Different strokes for
yeah,
different folks. I love that.
yep,
Um, Nick Vincent, brother, I am so grateful for your time, man. Man, that we ran through everything that I was
yeah.
thinking about hitting on, dude. Is there before we get out of here, brother, is there anything else that you'd like to hit on, dude? We're gonna have you back moving forward again, man.
Yeah, I love it.
Just your ideas about the process, about some of the mindset stuff we talked about last time, man. There's so much good that could come out of continuing to have you on the 9 hole, brother. I would love to have you back on when it's convenient, and we'll continue the talks.
Yeah, I'll just preach back onto the just the process. Like I said, stick with the put in your work, do your make sure you got the sacrifices lined up. You know, figure those out. Like what you want to sacrifice for baseball, what you don't. Your goals list. That's going to keep you accountable. What we already talked about. So if you keep your goals list, that's going to keep you accountable to putting in your work, doing all this, doing all that, doing your running, doing your nutrition, studying the game, all that. And then just being a good teammate, you know,
Love it.
learning, like I said, just each day, try to be a better teammate.
I love that.
Have fun when you're at practice. You guys can practice hard, but have fun too. Like, there's a difference of like game mode and practice. So, like when you're at practice and you guys are getting ready for the game, like have as much fun as you can before all that. Like none of those hours matter. They're not numbers that are going to go on the back of your baseball card or they're going to go on your actual stats. Like that's the work that you got to put in like beforehand to go out and compete.
Yeah.
So I'll just say, yeah, the process of baseball, sticking with it when you're down, when you're in the lows, stick with that process. Like you have your process that you want to go by, and you can change it year by year. Like,
It's
if
huge.
something didn't work for you, change it the next year. Add something else to your process list or whatever you want to do. But like I would say, just stick with the process when you're at your highs, when you're at your lows. Even if you're doing good, still do your work. It don't matter. Don't get lazy, because that's when you go from here and then you start getting into that slump, and then it's hard to get out of that slump.
Steamrolls, brother.
Yep. I want to think that one of the big things that Trevor Hoffman told me, pitching wise, was on mechanics. And he said, take a picture of when, or have video of when you first start, and have a video of when things are going good, and look at your video and see if you have different mechanics. Because
Really?
he's like, in time, you'll put yourself in a bad spot. Like, I had one foot in front of the other. So if I was on the mound, this is my back foot, I'd have the front foot in front of it a little bit. And he always said, he's like, just watch that, because in time, that front foot's going to go from, say if it's like this, it's going to go farther and farther and farther.
Mm.
And then when you get into a bad spot and you're trying to get yourself out of a slump, like, you're just in a really bad spot to get out of it.
That makes
So
sense.
he's like, just always make sure your dry work and all your mechanics are when you first started, when things were starting to get good. That was a big thing for him, because he said he used to do the same thing. He's like, I would go up and I'd go 2 months scoreless, and I'd look at my feet and they were just a foot farther than the other one. I'm like, wow, that makes sense. Like, I didn't even thought about that.
Crazy,
So,
dude. I love it. I love that, brother. Love that. Nick, thank you for your time, dude. Thank you for coming on here, talking a little bit more about the baseball process and what the next generation of baseball players need to know. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here, whether it is on YouTube or it is on Apple Podcasts. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time. Nick, we will catch you again soon, brother.
All righty. Take it easy, Ian.
All right. Take care, guys. Thank you.